The construction industry can be a tough business to crack. From cash flow problems, struggling to find skilled labour, and not making enough money for your efforts leaves many business owners feeling frustrated and burnt out. But when you get the business strategy right, it's an industry that can be highly satisfying and financially rewarding. I'm here to give you the resources to be able to create a construction business that gives you more time, more freedom, and more money. This is the Develop Your Construction Business podcast, and I'm your host, Greg Wilkes. Okay, so I've got a fantastic guest lined up for my listeners today. She starred in the BBC hit series The Apprentice in 2017 and made it through to the final three, even though personally I actually thought you should have won that, Michaela. It was a good series. Michaela's also a serial entrepreneur and successful business owner. And the important thing for us listening is that she's a specialist in the construction industry. A lot of her businesses relate around the construction industry, which is absolutely great for my listeners. So I know this interview is going to be of real interest to those who subscribe to the podcast and who might be following on YouTube. So let's introduce my guest today, Mikaela Wain. So Michaela, great to have you here.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm excited. I love anything construction, so it should be fun.
Absolutely brilliant, yeah. So, Michaela, maybe first of all, you could just tell us a little bit about, I know you've got a lot of businesses in the construction industry. What are you currently working on? What are you busy doing at the moment?
Everything. It's like my life's a joke. I have a construction company, facilities management, and to that, which we're working on quite heavily at the minute because it's expanding. But day to day, generally, I work on a marketing agency within the construction industry, and then I've invested in a few businesses, utility connections, and other bits and bobs.
Fingers in a few pies, eh? So
yeah,
that's fantastic.
Don't enjoy your bets in one place, isn't it?
Yeah, too right. Yeah, excellent. So brilliant. Well, I thought today, I know there's a lot we could talk about because, as I say, you're doing quite a lot throughout the construction industry. But I thought we could just focus in on your marketing business because I know you're really successful in that area. And that would be really useful for my listeners to discuss marketing and some strategies around that. So maybe we could hone in on that sort of stuff. So maybe just starting with like the real basics in construction and marketing, digital marketing. Why do you think having a good website is important for a construction business?
I think, construction is really far behind when it comes to digital marketing and any kind of marketing. So I started off 11 years ago with a magazine, Design and Build UK, and it was just solely an online magazine. And the reason for that is we can give you analytics, we can say who's clicked on it, we'll send traffic to your website. And 2 years into having my business, I had to revert back to having a hard copy as well because we was losing so much business because people wanted to see and feel a physical copy of a magazine so they knew they got something. So I think that the construction industry, and we still have to produce a hard copy as well. And I think the construction industry, when it comes to all forms of marketing, are just really, really prehistoric and need to get up to speed with things. So many people who I speak to will say, well, we've got a website, we've got some online presence, and I look at it and I just honestly, it's a bag of shit. I don't know if I can swear on this podcast, but they are just horrendous. You may as well not have any web presence because if somebody's gonna Google you and then find this underperforming, unattractive, pointless website, that's a reflection on your business. And everybody does do that now. They go onto social media, they look at your website and they judge you from that. So you're better to have nothing on there than to have something that's rubbish. So for me, your website is the foundations of all marketing. If you're going to do anything and you're going to pay money for it, then you should be paying for your website because there's lots of strategies that you can build around your website free of charge and you'll be able to do yourself. Developing, designing and working on a website though, creating a good one that works. However, you should invest money in it because if that's right, you can see some real return on it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know I've seen a few shocking websites myself. I think the thing that always frustrates me is sometimes you see people just haven't got pictures, have they? So all of a sudden you go on a website and it's just like half-built structures and they look like building sites and an absolute mess. And you think, what you're doing is like show off your work. It's
Yeah, I know.
embarrassing,
I
isn't
know,
it?
and just like the wording, get to people use the opportunity of a website to just talk about themselves. So we've been going 50 years, we're so great, everybody loves us, we do this, we do that, and honestly nobody cares. Like if you are going to do your own website or any kind of marketing, you need to think about what you're attracted to, and it's very rarely somebody bragging about themselves ever. You're not attracted to that. What you're attracted to is somebody saying, this is your problem, this is the solution that you want, and we have got experience in doing it by doing this, that, and the other. And that's how all marketing material and your website all should be written and structured with, this is your client's problem, this is the solution they want, and this is how you can provide it. And that's far more appealing.
That's a really important point, and as you say, that goes right through all your marketing, doesn't it? Not just your website. So we'll touch on that a little bit later. What sort of other content do you think should be on a website? What sort of things? Because I guess it can be a little bit daunting if you're trying to start, get a website going from scratch. You worry about how much content's got to be on there. What are the big things you think should be on a standard website for construction?
So you just want to keep it as simple as possible and to clearly see exactly what you do. So for SEO purposes, so to be appearing or ranking on search engines, ideally on your homepage or threaded throughout your website, you want to have around 150, a keyword or keywords planted around 150 times. So that seems like a lot, but actually you can be really clever with it. So if you wanted to be, like a joiner in Bolton, and that's what you thought people was going to search for, you just thread that throughout your content. And as long as you can get that in hidden quite well, don't build any other content around it. Just only do it so that that's your end goal. You want 100 of these words built into your content, fluff it up to that point, because that's the point of your content. Then when people are landing on your site, you want it to be visual, so they don't have to actually read all that content. I would say land on your website, have some nice video, a time lapse or some good imagery as soon as they land on there. Then going down your page, a really simple thing to do without having loads of edit is trusted by. So instead of saying I've been working with KFC, McDonald's and whoever else, you can just have their logos on there. Get permission first if you can be bothered, and then it's simply, this is who we work with, without having to go on, we've been doing this, that and the other. Testimonials is a must-have. It's by far the best seller. And this goes on to social media as well. It gets very little likes or comments, but for us, we just get an abundance of leads from putting testimonials out there, because it's just a case of monkey see, monkey do. So, you're showing that you've done something excellent for somebody else, and it's word of mouth, but on your terms, basically. And the other key thing that I would say is a lead magnet, and there's so few websites have this, but if you have a website and you're expecting people to fill out a contact us form, I will tell you that it's never going to work. It is pointless and your website will underperform. So you want some kind of lead magnet on there, and a lead magnet would be either some kind of white paper or a calculator, something that's so valuable to the potential customer that they're going to exchange their email address, telephone number and contact name to receive whatever it is you're offering. So on our website, we offer a free content planner, a free social media content planner, and a free marketing plan template. So I know people who are coming to our site are interested in construction marketing. They're going to give me those details, and from that, they're added to my sales funnel, and I can follow up with whatever our sales process is. So it's really, really important. If you're going to expect people to take the time to give you their information, then you've got to give them something in exchange.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, thinking about that, some sort of lead magnet. So I guess just thinking in practical terms, what that might be for construction. So I guess if you were a company that did extensions, would it be like a lead magnet, like maybe the top 10 tips for kitchen designs or something along those lines? Or
Yeah, exactly that. It's got to be. I mean, we spend days creating these kinds of things, so I can't but Yeah, normally if there's a way of doing a calculator, they perform best. So for instance, we have an LED lighting specialist on our books, and for them we did how much could you save on LED lighting. You know, you have to put in, I have X amount of rooms, I use X amount of electricity, whatever it is, and then at the bottom we'll then say, give us your email address, contact name and number, and we'll send you over the results, or then your results will appear. I can't remember which way we did that one. So they do really, really well, because for whatever reasons, people like clicking buttons and finding out about themselves. And white papers are great, but it's got to be something really creative. It's got to be something that they're not finding anywhere else. It can't really be what would typically be a blog post, because they're not going to exchange for that. So it's got to be perhaps a bit more inventive than the top 10 creative things, you know. But yeah, I can't think off the top of my head, but you've got to get creative with it, basically.
No, that's brilliant. No, that's really helpful. So yeah, you need to get your creative juices flowing for that, for try and think of some content pieces for, and try and be a little bit different.
An easy way to do it is think, what are the top most frequently asked questions that your clients ask you before buying from you. So if they say, like, what's the price for this, or what's this, that and the other, whatever those questions are, then build your lead magnet around those questions and have a real clickbait title. So whatever that most common question is, something that's answering that question would be the best starting point for all companies, I think.
Yeah, that's a really valuable tip, Michaela. Thanks for that. That's absolutely great. Now, you touched on SEO a little bit earlier, and ways. Obviously, everyone wants to get on page one of Google. That's the idea, isn't it? Because it feels like it's free once you're sitting there. Is that something that people can be doing SEO on their website themselves? I know you mentioned, putting 100, 150 keywords in, or is, SEO always seems like a bit of a dark art that you need to be leaving to specialists and experts. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's complicated, but I think because people make so much money from it, they overcomplicate it, and it doesn't have to be that complicated. However, you can't just have a website built and do everything correct and get it all set up right and then leave it. So you've got to continue to work on it. So another good way to work on your search engine optimization is doing blogs or news articles frequently, having social media attached to it. I can't remember the bloody name now, but you could probably just put it into a search engine and find it. You can run a free analysis on your own website, and it'll tell you whether you're grade A, B, C, D, E, or F, and where you're failing, and that helps with your own optimization. So if you have done it yourself, it'll give you the results, and you know where to improve. And keep checking in on those kind of things. You need to be checking Google Analytics constantly, like once a month, and seeing what's working, what isn't, what pages are dead, what pages are performing, to really understand it. So it doesn't take a genius to do it, but it does take time to do it. So what I suggest to everybody, and it's just like in any business doing anything, if your time is, if you're going to lose more money by doing this, you may as well just outsource it. And you don't have to outsource it to somebody really expensive. Go on the internet, you can find there's really, really, really highly skilled people in other countries who can work on this for you. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to do it yourself, blog posts, news articles, linking social media, also sending out any articles you write, or speaking to other construction companies who you're related with and ask them to do backlinks, so you look like a trusted website. Then that's a really important part of SEO, getting trusted backlinks of people. But yes, social media though, the reason social media is key is because search engines already love the likes of Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. So if you're getting links back from there, then it makes your website look better and will help you to rank higher. But it does take effort, and it also does take time. So don't expect it to happen overnight, but it is also very important.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that about time, because obviously we're living in an age now we want to see results instantly, but to try and get onto page one of Google, depending on, I guess, how competitive your market is, it's not always that easy, is it? So how long, if people set up a brand new website, is there a guide on how long they should expect to take if they really optimize their SEO? Is it, is it a case of weeks or months potentially that they might?
No, yeah, it's months. I think if anybody tells you less than that, then I'd swerve them because they're lying. It will take months. 6 to 12 months would be a realistic target for it. You should be seeing results at 6 months, but to be, close to the top of the first page. But again, it's exactly what you said. It depends on how competitive these keywords are. So if you're searching for a joiner nationally, there's going to be thousands and thousands, but if you can hone in on a more specific, like a joiner in Bolton, or and you can make it a bit more specific, then that's going to help you ranking, and you're not going to be competing as much because in construction not that many people work on it. I can tell you firsthand.
Well, that's good to know, isn't it? Well, hopefully my listeners are the type that are considering this. Sometimes they wouldn't be. I mean, this podcast is all about growing your business successfully and using digital media and things like that. So that's fantastic. So you mentioned a minute ago about how important social media is for boosting your website rankings. Now I know some construction company owners just detest social media. It all seems a little bit overwhelming, and there's so many platforms out there, isn't there? But why should they really be considering social media as a strategy to bring in more business?
Because it works is the main reason. And so if you are looking for incoming leads, so social media and your website is the things that you need to focus on. So to put it in perspective, around probably now a little bit less, but probably 70% of our business comes from LinkedIn alone, and we do quite a lot of business. So I don't have to have people ringing out and trying to get people to come to us. Everybody's coming to us now, and it's because of social media. So it 100% works. But I think there's a few things that you can do to simplify this, because like you say, it's very daunting. You're thinking what time to post, it's tanking, nobody liked it, nobody's following me, and it hurts your ego. You've got to let go of it all and really just put yourself out there. And as frustrating as it is, it's just like learning anything new. Once you've got it, and it's actually very, very simple. What we do as an agency, we manage people's social media, so we'll do Twitter, Instagram, Facebook and LinkedIn, and we use a platform called, well, we changed it actually, but I pay for it, so I'll tell you a free one. There's a platform called Hootsuite, and it's free of charge to manage and schedule your social media posts. So what we do, we'd sit down, and for half a day, I mean, if your listeners are sole traders or have a few people working for them, then just spend the Saturday doing it. Sit down for half a day and go, right, Monday I'm going to post this, Tuesday I'm going to post that. Get creative with your posts. If you sit there and spend all your time, just a couple of hours on it, and you get yourself in a creative mood, you can plan out 4 weeks worth of posts, schedule it in Hootsuite, and just let it do its thing. And then what we do is we dip in all the time because that's our job. But what I would suggest for people doing it themselves is every 2 to 4 weeks, go on and have a look at, this performed well, I'll do a similar post next time. This one was shy, I'll change it, I'll amend the wording. And also making sure that you reply to everybody instantly, or as fast as you can. Obviously, if you're on a roof, don't risk your life, but as fast as you can comment back to people. It's about that engagement, and commenting also on other people's things, trying to bring your community in as well, not just being like self-centered, thinking, oh, follow me. You're not Jesus. Reach out to people, and then hopefully they'll start following you as well. So I would say Hootsuite, and genuinely, I mean, you will be added to a sales funnel if you do this, but you can tell me to piss off if somebody rings you. If you go on to frameworkmarketing.co.uk, there's a content planner on there, and it is really good. So any new staff that we get in, they abide by the rules that are on there. And it just tells you all the different kinds of posts. So there'd be your typical sales post, a blog post, a poll, an informative one, a journey one, a question and answers one. So it just gives you some ideas on different categories that your post should fall into, and then basically what is on that as well, in case you need reminding.
That's really helpful. So what I'll do is I'll drop that website address into the comments in a bit. And yeah, I think sometimes we just need a few ideas just to get yourself going, don't you? With content wise. So if you want to go and download that content piece, then appreciate you putting that on your website, Michaela, that we can have a look at. So that's really useful. Now you mentioned quite a few channels there already. You mentioned Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Now, some may only be on one of them, some may be on none of them at all. Is there a particular social media channel that's working really well for construction, or does it have to be all of them, or does it depend on niche?
It does depend on niche, to be honest, and it depends on the kind of content that you've got. So I know lots of bricklayers, for instance, who are really successful on TikTok at the moment. That's one that we don't manage, because it's video form. If somebody's going to spend the time to video it, they may as well upload it themselves. So we don't delve into that. But yeah, absolutely smashing it, going viral on TikTok, really easy to do as well. So anything visual, I would advise going onto TikTok, recording that, and it just takes one on there, you'll end up with hundreds of thousands of followers. Literally, you can end up with hundreds of thousands. And it's similar to Instagram. The thing is, once you've got the content, you can post it on everything. So if it's visual and you're going to put it on TikTok, then you may as well just smack it on everything else as well, because you will start getting the crossover. It's just more difficult now because of algorithms to go viral on things like Instagram. LinkedIn is just, honestly, like the best thing ever. If you're not on LinkedIn, you're doing your business an injustice. You need to be on there, because it's simple content. It can be written content. It's a lot of entrepreneurs on there, or leaders on there, people who want to see other people doing well. So any stories you've got of success, celebrations, my year anniversary, all that nonsense, they absolutely lap it up. And it's great, it's great. And I don't want to like do people down. I also love seeing other people's posts like that. You think, fucking fair play, yeah, well done, mate. And everybody champions you on it. And if you're in construction, you'll already know this. Once you get into it with a client, then you're in with that client, basically, as long as you're doing a good job. Yeah. And it's quite clicky on there, especially in the construction industry. So I found it to be the most valuable social media platform for us. But, I'm not out really on building sites that much, or building anything that looks amazing, which is why we don't do TikTok.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. So LinkedIn's always one that I advise my clients to look at, because it's the way that if you want to go and connect with architects or interior designers, or if you're a main contractor, that's the perfect place. That's where you're going to go and find them, isn't it, on LinkedIn? So it's always worked really well. And the same too, if you're just a trade and you're looking to hook up with main contractors, then they're going to be on there too, aren't they? Some of the bigger main contractors. So
100%. You can search by job role, you can search by the companies, connect with. I think you can connect with like up to 30,000 people. And again, it's about the outreach as much as what it is posting the stuff on there. It's about commenting on other people's things. So I always find it really creepy and frustrating when people just email me straight away, inbox me like, oh, I want to introduce you to this. And because I have I think I have 46,000 connections now, so, or followers, whatever they're called on there. So I get it every day, and it just looks so typical, bland and boring that after the first couple of sentences, I won't even open it. However, if somebody is always commenting on my things, or always liking my stuff, and I'm seeing the face all the time, or the name all the time, then when they inbox me, I am going to open it. So it's really important to remember that if you're looking to get in with a particular project manager at a specific main contractor, then I would be really nosing them up and always commenting on the stuff and being like, oh, I love this. Oh, amazing. I'm going to share. And, just be real cheesy, because, if it gets you a $100,000 job, it's well worth being cheesy. It's not really in my nature to be like that, but I still do it anyway. And then, then when you email them and say, oh, I really love this project that you worked on, do you have anything else in the pipeline, because we're looking to expand, blah, 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 it's going to feel a lot more natural, and they're going to be more likely to help you out.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I guess that tip doesn't just apply to LinkedIn, does it? I mean, you could do that over Instagram and Facebook, couldn't you, potentially, or Twitter, I guess, comment on people's posts. And because I think at the end of the day, a lot of us, we post, and most of us don't get massive traction from our posts, unless we're someone like you, Michaela. But we, I don't. But most of us, you might get 1 or 2 likes or a few comments. And you think, oh, great. But so if you're going to comment on an architect's something that an architect's done, and they're only getting a few comments, they are going to notice you, aren't they? And it's more likely you're going to get invited.
100%. And it's just, don't be like annoying with what people will comment on my thing promoting their business. I have other digital marketing companies commenting, oh, if you need digital marketing, come to us. I'm like, delete, remove, block, bugger off, get your own. So don't be like trying to go in with the sell and the kill straight away. And I would also follow people on all platforms. If it's somebody who I really want to get in with, and this has happened a couple of times successfully for us, then I'd follow them if they're available on Instagram, or Twitter's another good one for the construction industry. Then probably LinkedIn and Twitter would be where I'd be following them and just liking and commenting and things, and not being a creep and overbearing. But then after a couple of weeks, if you're saying a few bits and bobs, that's when I'd be looking to approach them. You know, once they give you a couple of comments back, because they do remember you, and people do read your inboxes, and they do read the hidden inboxes as well. I get hundreds, honestly, and I still read them. So if I've ignored it, it's because I've chosen to ignore it. So you know, be creative with what you're saying as well, and approach things with this problem solution attitude. When it comes to socials, you'll be a lot more successful.
Yeah, that's really good. Just coming back to Twitter, because I've found I've had a lot of businesses as well, and I've always used Twitter across all my businesses. But I've always found out of all of them, Twitter was the one that I never really got any traction with, especially in construction. But do you find that's working for your clients? What sort of people is it working for on Twitter, or what have you got to be doing on Twitter? I'm probably doing it wrong.
Yeah, so don't get me wrong, it's not amazing. It's not like LinkedIn at all. And it's a real hostile place at times. People are awful on Twitter. Honestly, I've been trolled a lot, but I stick at it anyway. But yeah, I think it's more about you following the right people on there and doing the outreach, the commenting. Again, it's never one that you get loads of likes on, and it's not something that, you know, you're gonna. I might get 2 or 3 likes in it, but you'll be amazed at then who pops up in your inbox after it. You can't go off the likes. And like I was saying earlier on, the testimonial post that you do, or I did a post on LinkedIn the other day about, do you want the free content planner that I just said, like go to this link, whatever. And I think I had maybe 13 likes, but I had 30 odd people go and download it. I thought, you could have liked it as well as downloading it. Give me something back. So, and the same with testimonials, you get very few likes. But I remember this was maybe 2 months ago, I put a testimonial up, I got 7 likes, and we ended up getting 10 clients off it. And that's no word of lie, I got 10 new clients off it, and not all of them even liked it. So you really can't go off that. You go off your inbox and what business it's bringing you. And Twitter's the same as that, but it's more of an outreach place, I would say, with Twitter, and being nice to people. My clients do a bit on there, but I think it's going to support what you're doing on your other platforms rather than being solely focused on Twitter. That should be a support for what you're doing elsewhere.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. So that's really good. And just coming back to your tip on putting references and testimonials, I mean, it's absolutely huge, isn't it? Because it just establishes you as someone credible. Trust gets transferred, doesn't it, across when you're doing that type of thing. So, you know, testimonials are always a big one to keep plugging.
Yeah, and I'll give you a tip on the testimonial front as well, because you'll end up with this. Oh, Dave's really nice. We ended up going football together. His wife's lovely and his kid's great job. I'd recommend him. You're like, what has that got to do with the extension, mate? So to ensure that doesn't happen, as lovely as it is, we'll say to people, oh, can you write as a testimonial, and would you mind answering these questions? So again, it'll be, what was the problem that you had? What solution was you looking for? Why did you choose framework marketing? Would you recommend us? And then they'll write it out like a story, and that's the exact story that you want your potential client to read. So we wanted a new extension. We couldn't find anybody reliable in the area. We really wanted a local builder to put back into the economy. We chose Dave because he lived down the street and he had experience. I would 100% recommend him. Here's some pictures of what he did. So that's like exactly what you want to read, not about the football match.
Yeah, that's a really, really valuable tip there. So write that one down, everyone, if you're listening. That's really useful. So thinking about just moving on from social media, obviously we only get certain reach, don't we, depending on how many followers and whatever else we've got. So a lot of people then consider paid advertising on Facebook or whatever platform they're on. But again, that's quite daunting, because you think, you know, I could go and do that and waste a lot of money. Is paid advertising where people should be looking in construction? Is that something to consider?
It's a minefield. It's just a minefield. It's so difficult. It's difficult for agencies to get it right. You need to be putting big money behind it. There's 100% a place for it, definitely. But this is a place for SMEs looking to grow to large contractors, in my opinion, or for the construction industry I'm talking about. If you've got an e-commerce website, that's different. If you're a supplier and you can sell something direct from there, I think that's different. But if you were somebody, a contractor of some kind, of some sort, and not selling something off your website, my tips on this would be, you've got to get your organic post right first. And the reasons for this is that is a test. So if you do an organic post and you've done something along those lines for 3 months in a row, and each time it's gaining traction, then you know this post would potentially work if I put some money behind it. Never ever, for the love of God, boost your post, because it's going to knacker you up on your organic, and it does absolutely rock all fire. So if you're going to do paid socials, then you need to do it the correct way, which is going through the back end of Facebook and Instagram. If we're talking about social media, doing it through the back end. But what you need to look at is it's got to be a campaign of 3. So it has to have some kind of image in there, realistically, or a video, and then you'll do the way to get the most out of your money is to go, I'm going to put X amount of money behind this. This is going to be my first image. Those people who click on the first image or review the first video for a period of time, you can re-advertise to them again. So if you'll create a sales kind of funnel, like a marketing funnel. I'm trying to put it in layman's terms and not technical. So you'll have your first video, they'll be a bit bought into, but may not have purchased from you. So then you'll do a second one, which will be a bit more of an upsell, offering them a different aspect of the first one that you've done. And then you'll do a third one. And by this point, you'll be converting people at every point. And by the third point, if they've not converted, then you've done with them and you move on to the next one. But yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I understand this process. I have an agency who runs this, and there's absolutely no way that I'd be touching it. I get my staff to do that, because it's difficult, and you can really put a lot of money behind it and it not do well. And there's a lot of people out there who are like me, who understand it, but honestly, I would not take money off somebody to do it, because I wouldn't trust that I'd do them justice. You really need a tech geek specialist, somebody who understands analytics. Create your marketing campaign with somebody else, and then perhaps get like a tech whiz to do it if you want to do it that way. But just make sure whoever's doing it understands analytics and understands the process. And I just wouldn't advise it if it's not your forte. It's like, I wouldn't want to put windows in myself. I know if I put windows in, there's absolutely no way I'd do it. They'd fall out. So just pay somebody else is my honest opinion on that.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that. That's there's some things we can do DIY and we can have a tinker about and play with, but I think when you're spending, especially if you're going to spend a fair bit of money, then you want someone who knows what they're doing, and that's the thing. Is, I mean, the beauty of the ads, though, I know that you can get you can really hone in on your audiences, can't you? With the algorithms that Facebook and Instagram have got, you can really get it quite defined, can't you, on who you're.
If you get somebody else to do it and you've got the right person, they are amazing, because you can go down to location, gender, age, interest, absolutely everything into real detail, and get the exact target audience who you want. What you would hope for is, if you have got this lead magnet on your website, you've been capturing people's information, then over time you're going to build your own database. I hope this doesn't get too technical now, but if, say, you had 1,000 contacts, 1,000 email addresses who you've done business with, you can put that information into the back end of Facebook and Instagram, and it will create a lookalike audience. So people who share similar interests, of similar age group, and are doing the similar things on the platform, and they will advertise to all of those people for you. So once you've developed your own database as well, it can be really, really useful for creating this lookalike audience. But it's not as simple as just creating that. You have to do A/B split testing. So again, this is why you need to use somebody else. But what I'm saying is, the first place to start is your website. Get your own data, get your organic post going, so that you've done the research and you understand this is what people are responding to. So if you are going to throw money into it, which perfect, do, but make sure that it's going to be done properly when you do.
Yeah, that's really useful. And just to hone in on that, just to give my listeners an example. So, if, for example, this lookalike audience that Michaela was mentioning, if you're let's say you're a window fitting company and you supply to the construction industry or main contractors, and you're looking for those type of people, you might have a list already of ones that you've already sold to in the past that you can upload into the Facebook portal. But then you can do Facebook is so obviously the algorithm's so good that it will then find other lookalike people that are like those construction companies. So you're just massively expanding your customer base, aren't you? Even if you've only got a relatively small list of contacts. Have I explained that right, Michaela?
Yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah, sorry, I try not. It's difficult to explain it without getting too technical, but that's exactly right. Yeah, if you basically, it will give you the people who look like that, like we say look like that, but have got similar qualities as the people who are already using you, because generally your avatar is your avatar, and it's going to be the same throughout the lifetime.
Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. So, Michaela, I'm conscious we've taken a bit of your time up here. You've given some absolute gems and real value to my listeners, so I really appreciate that. And as I said, my listeners are generally construction companies that are looking to grow their business to the next level. So a lot of them will be focusing on how they can do that, what platforms they need to be on, and they may well be looking for some more support in their digital marketing. Some will listen to this and think, oh, I'll give it a go myself. Some will think, I don't want anything to do with it. Let me concentrate on what I'm good at and get a specialist to do it. So if they wanted more help, Michaela, where would they need to go to get some more help with their digital marketing?
Yeah, so our website's www.frameworkmarketing.co.uk, where that content planner is. There's also a free marketing template that you can download on there as well. So if you are going to do it yourself, then there's loads of information, loads of blogs, then feel free to use all that free stuff. And I'm on all social media, either Mikaela Wain or Mikaela Wain 1, because there's this really beautiful model called Mikaela Wain, which is infuriating. So sometimes I'm Mikaela Wain 1, but you won't get the two of us mixed up. She's a stunner.
There you go. That's absolutely brilliant. So Michaela, really appreciate your time. That's really valuable, and I wish you all the best with all your construction businesses and everything you've got going on. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks. Cheers.
If you'd like to work with me to fast track your construction business growth, then reach out on www.developcoaching.co.uk.